Marcus was 9 years old the night he decided to follow a blind horse into the woods. He hadn't planned it. One second he was sitting on the porch steps, waiting for his dad to come home from the hospital, a dad who had stopped coming home 3 weeks ago. And the next, the old gray horse from the Callaway farm was standing at the edge of the tree line, perfectly still, staring at nothing with those clouded, silver eyes. Then it stepped into the dark. Marcus pulled on his sneakers and went after it. Nobody understood why Marcus had gone quiet after his dad's accident. His teachers wrote notes home. His mom sat on the edge of his bed at night, rubbing circles on his back, saying things like, "We're going to be okay," in a voice that trembled just enough to make him doubt it. He didn't talk much anymore. Not because he was sad, or not only because of that. It was more like the words that used to come easily had packed up and left with everything else. The horse's name was Remy. Marcus knew that much. Old man Callaway had owned him for 16 years, and Remy had gone blind 2 summers back from some kind of infection that moved too fast for the vet to stop. People on the road called him the ghost horse because of how he stood at the fence, had lifted, watching something none of them could see. Marcus had always felt a pull toward him. He just never acted on it before tonight. The forest was dark, but Remy moved without hesitation. Hooves finding the gaps between roots, shoulders rushing through low branches without panic, without stumbling. He moved like he had a map drawn somewhere inside him. Marcus kept pace 10 feet behind, hands out for balance, watching the white blur of that gray coat disappear and reappear between the trees. He can't see anything, Marcus thought. And he's not scared at all. 20 minutes in, Marcus stopped. The trees had thinned into a small clearing he'd never seen before, though he'd grown up half a mile from these woods. In the center sat the burned skeleton of an old cabin. Charred beams, a collapsed roof, a stone chimney still standing like it had refused to fall. Remy walked straight to the chimney and pressed his forehead against the stone. Marcus stood at the edge of the clearing, heart loud in his chest. "How did you know this was here?" The horse didn't react to the voice, just breathed slowly, steam rising from his nostrils in the cold air. Marcus stepped closer. Near the base of the chimney, half buried in dead leaves, was a rusted tin box. He almost missed it. He pulled it free and the hinges screamed when he pried the lid open. Inside, a folded photograph, a pocket watch, and a letter sealed with a wax stamp he didn't recognize. His hands were shaking. Not from the cold. The photograph showed 2 boys, maybe 12 and 8, standing in front of the cabin before it burned. The older one was holding the younger one's hand, on the back in faded ink. Thomas and Henry Callaway, 1961. Marcus looked at the letter, but didn't open it. It felt like something private, something sealed for a reason. He tucked everything carefully back in the tin. By then, the temperature had dropped sharply, and he realized he had no flashlight, no jacket, and no idea exactly how deep into the woods he'd followed Remy. He turned in a slow circle. The trees all looked the same. "Okay," he said quietly, mostly to himself. "Okay, that was stupid." Remy lifted his head from the chimney stone. His ears rotated slowly, tracking a sound Marcus couldn't hear. Then the horse turned and began walking, back the way they'd come, steady and unhurried, like he'd accomplished whatever he'd come here to do. Marcus grabbed a fistful of mane without thinking. Remy didn't flinch, just kept walking. They made it out of the tree line at 9:47 p.m. Marcus checked the porch clock when he got back. His mom was in the kitchen on the phone, her voice hushed and urgent, and didn't see him slip in through the back. He sat with the tin box on his lap until she hung up. When he showed her what he'd found, she went still. She turned the photograph over twice, reading the names, then looked at him in a way that made his stomach drop. "Mr. Calloway had a brother," she said slowly. "Henry, he died in a fire, in the woods. Marcus, nobody knew where he used to go. The family spent years trying to find where Henry's things were, where he was buried." She set the photograph down on the table between them, like it was fragile. They searched those woods 3 times. Marcus thought about Remy standing at that fence every day, head lifted, watching something no one else could see. He thought about how a horse that couldn't see with his eyes had walked straight to a chimney in a dark forest he supposedly had no way to navigate. He didn't have an explanation, he just knew what he'd seen. Old Man Calloway came over the next morning. Marcus's mom called him before breakfast, and he arrived still in his coat, hat in his hands, moving carefully the way very old men do when they're trying not to let anyone see how hard something is hitting them. Marcus gave him the tin box at the kitchen table. Calloway opened it without a word. He held the pocket watch for a long time. Long enough that Marcus looked away to give him privacy. When the old man finally spoke, his voice was rougher than usual. "This was my father's. He gave it to Henry the morning of the fire." He set it down gently. "I thought it was gone." He looked at Marcus directly then. "How'd you find it?" "Remy showed me," Marcus said. Calloway didn't laugh, didn't argue. He just looked out the window toward the fence where the gray horse stood in the early light, head raised, ears tilted forward. "He's been restless for months," the old man said quietly. "Since about the time your daddy went to the hospital." Marcus didn't know what that meant exactly. He wasn't sure he needed to. 2 days later, Marcus's father came home. Not fully. He needed a wheelchair, and there were months of therapy ahead, and some mornings the house felt heavy in ways it hadn't before. But he was there. He was at the breakfast table. He laughed at something on the radio, and it sounded exactly like Marcus remembered. That afternoon, Marcus walked to the Calloway fence. Remy was standing in his usual spot, but something was different. The rigid searching posture was gone. The horse looked settled somehow, calm in a way Marcus hadn't seen before. He reached over the fence and rested his hand flat on Remy's nose. The horse exhaled slowly, warm breath spreading across Marcus's palm. "You already knew, didn't you?" Marcus said. "That he was coming back." Remy turned his clouded eyes toward him, not seeing, but aware in some other way Marcus couldn't name. Marcus had spent 3 weeks waiting in silence, carrying something too heavy for a 9-year-old to carry alone. And somehow, a blind horse that couldn't find his water bucket without bumping into the trough had walked him straight to the thing he needed most. Proof that things lost in the dark could still be found. He leaned his forehead against Remy's, the same way the horse had leaned against the chimney stone. Neither of them moved for a long time.